Welcome to game 2 between Launch and Gypsy. 12 o'clock location. We have Gypsy starting as a blue turn. Bottom right hand corner we have Launch starting as the red turn. This is going to be on Apocalypse. It is a 3-player map. I'll be curious to see what build Launch has now in game 2, or if he's going to try to play an open standard match. Hopefully we can get some more Launch games. I want to see. I have the bracket in the background, and I kept an eye. So I looked in depth as far as how Semi did, because there's a couple guys where I'm kind of rooting for them in the background. Semi, Raz, Urman, I wanted to see how they did. I wanted to see how Artosis did, obviously. And then Jaeyoon, and Jaeyoon always feel like I don't need to pay. How do I put this? Jaeyoon went to my alma mater. I've known him for a very long time in the community. I knew him before he was really getting kind of into the quote-unquote pro ranks of things. And I knew he was going to be really, really good, and it was fun hanging out with him in those days. But it's kind of like one of those things where I don't have to worry about him at all, because I know he's going to be out there on the top and winning stuff. It's one of those, it's weird with Jaeyoon, like going back half topic, because I feel like I have a lot of connections to, anyway, I won't dive into that here. Anyhow, Supply Depot, 12 o'clock location. Between these two, obviously, Gypsy the heavy favorite. I am curious to see if Launch will be able to sneak a game, or what kind of contest he'll put up, and otherwise if he's going to try to play a heads-up game. Apocalypse, I think, is going to be very, very challenging, because Apocalypse, I feel like the standard Terran meta is to go for this was in the map pool when the average meta, I think Ascension was the other map that really made it a thing, where the 3-factory Vulture was very, very popular, because there's no ramp. You don't have to worry about misfire. It's a very wide open natural expansion. You have wide open area in the middle of the map to attack. And so the 3 Vulture floods that can attack the natural expansion, sometimes sneak all the way in the main and get the mines on the factory line, can be absolutely huge. And then the decision of speed versus mine, also very important. But the thing is micro versus micro, Gypsy is phenomenal at getting strong trades. Let's see if Launch builds an initial marine. It looks like an initial marine is already constructing for Gypsy. Launch going to go ahead and skip that first marine and get that factory, try to get that factory down a little bit more rapidly. Another aspect of this is I know that Gypsy also sneaks mineral boosting tactics here and there. It looks like, I think, okay, we do have a marine being constructed here in the midst. And the other question is do they go straight 3 factory, or is one or the other of them going to try to get a bunker out on the front and go for a command center? And I feel like when you try to go for an earlier command center with a slightly lighter Vulture count, it can get punished fairly heavily on this map, because again, it's a wide open natural. It can be challenging to get enough blockade out in the front, even with the bunker. And then Vultures are in your base, and that's a dead natural expansion. SCV running forward. Going to go ahead and get an eyeful. Second Marine out. Is not going to be able to halt that, so he is going to be able to wander up. He sees that initial Vulture under construction. Gypsy saving. It looks like he is going to go 1 factory into expansion, and it looks like it's going to be mirrored build on the opposite side. And actually, the Supply Depot not built. Oftentimes you'll see the Supply Depot built along the edge to prevent that exact maneuver, so it looks like Gypsy's going to be able to escape with that SCV with just a sliver. Well, maybe. Vulture, there we go. Vulture able to get that attack in. And Gypsy actually moving out a little bit to make sure he has the high ground position in case Launch attacks forward, but he's already going to see the barracks making its way forward. This lifting off much earlier to provide earlier scouting information, because this is kind of the critical moment. We see a second factory drop, no machine shop as of yet. We see a machine shop and a second factory queued up for Gypsy. And this is kind of the critical moment of seeing what the factory count is in the midst of this along build order variants. And the Marines, if they pull, here's the other thing with having that, if the Marines pull off, these Marines potentially could attack forward. And if you lose this high ground position, you can see where that could end up being disastrous. So 3 Vultures there. Launch testing forward, Gypsy moving back, recognizing it might be an unfavorable scenario, and definitely wants to keep those Marines alive. I presume this is going to be 3 factory. Yeah, we got the 3 factories in the midst of this, because it is a open natural expansion. A flurry of shots in Gypsy's favor, and Gypsy now kiting is going to end up killing an initial Vulture. So small victories And you see that third factory plopping down, speed first. In the meantime, speed going up a little bit faster here from Gypsy in the midst of this build order. So right now, launch behind a worker that escaped a base, miscued, and it might have just been a space in the build order, but actually down a handful of workers and behind a little supply because he lost that vulture in the midst of this as well. And part of it is Gypsy's build orders are just very, very sharp, is the other aspect of it. Now trying to work on that barracks, but launch able to confirm the 3 factories. Is going to go deep. Is he going to go deep enough? He's going to see the edge of that 4th factory. Does not see the 4th factory as it's making its way across. And that could be disastrous, because now it's going to be 3 factories versus 4. And potential vulture aggression into the natural expansion. Gypsy already making his way out. This is a closer reinforcement point for launch, but getting the initial shot, so up initially, and getting much better focus fire in the initial portions of this fight, catching launch somewhat off guard. And so now, launch going to end up losing the high ground, 5-2. And if Gypsy just turns around and holds here, he's going to end up being able to reinforce pretty rapidly. Let's see if the barracks moves out of position to also see the reinforcing vultures. So now you have a point of purchase and not able to see the superior vulture army. Yeah, launch going to GG, recognizing he's just down a lot of vultures. As far as the flip round, to know to drop an emergency bunker and get some other cruft out in the natural expansion. So like I was saying, vulture is very, very strong on this map. Launch dropping to Gypsy, there's really no shame in that, honestly. Like, zero shame whatsoever, considering this guy took the entire tournament and is one of the best foreign players in the world right now. But I did want to give kudos to launch out there. Tough bracket start. Hope you guys enjoyed it regardless. Thanks for listening.